Welcome. Welcome to Brad's Dance. Welcome to Cultivated Live for Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. I'm Jay Rosenthal, co-founder of Cultivated Media and host of this show, Cultivated Live. And since we launched, our goal at Cultivated has been to be cannabis industry first, providing you with the most important, insightful, and useful information on a daily basis. We do that through our newsletter, Cultivated Daily. We do it through our live stream, Cultivated Live. So we would love for you to join us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and get our daily newsletter in your inbox. All the links to how to do that are below. On Tuesdays, I'm joined by Brad Spirrison, the founder and CEO of Grown In, for a segment we like to call United States of Cannabis. Brad, welcome.
Good morning. Great to see you.
Yeah, I'm not in my normal space. Like, you were in Florida 2 weeks ago. I'm in Florida now. It's like we're getting older spending time in Florida.
I just dig you without the hat, brah.
Yes, this is my vacation look. No, I've told you, not that anybody really cares, but I'm growing my hair out. Usually it's under a hat, so it grows without being noticed. But I'm starting to take the hat off to see the reaction. Are you pro or a con?
Not only that, we're both men without hats.
It's good. It's like a band.
I know. We're at work.
Men at work and men without hats. Yes. You want to dive into what's happening? Because there's a lot happening.
Let's dive in.
I have some unpopular opinions coming up. Are you ready?
Let's party.
Okay, so Brad, do you remember a few weeks back when all the talk in federal cannabis circles was about packaging safer banking with stable coin legislation, wrapping those two together and putting it in the FAA reauthorization bill? You remember that?
One of the latest in 100 different machinations and try to get this through. Yes.
Yes, and then that apparently didn't happen or wasn't going to happen. But now it seems like the vice chair of the House Financial Services Committee, Republican French Hill, which is a great name, a Republican from Arkansas, said he's okay with the two pieces of legislation being paired together. Now, at the same time, Mitch McConnell said he doesn't want that to happen. But also at the same time, it seems like Schumer might want it to happen. So it's like on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, if I'm counting all right. And my unpopular opinion is, like, I know that people in cannabis may not pay as close attention to what's happening in Washington unless it's about them. But this isn't that unusual, even though it is unusual.
Yeah, I don't think Mitch McConnell would ever do anything at the end of a legislative period to disappoint anybody.
Or make anybody happy, I guess, for that matter.
Yes. I view this as like the gravy in assuming rescheduling happens in 2024, this is gravy. I don't think, while we are forced to cover this and we are in that proverbial window where if anything's going to get done, it's going to get done in the next 6 weeks. I would view any kind of safe banking or anything through the legislative process to be at about a 10% chance, whereas I think rescheduling is like a 75% chance. So it's an interesting story. You always want to cover the Hail Mary at the end of the game. But I'm not sure this is more than a Hail Mary at this juncture.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I also, while it may be a 10%, as you said, there's almost a 100% chance we won't know about it until it actually happens and probably passes in the middle of the night.
Which is okay. But,
yes.
On our feeds and everything else, either way, that's when you'll be wearing your hat.
Yes, I'll be rolling out of bed in the morning trying to figure out what the heck happened in the middle of the night. Speaking of things happening, so as those that follow Cultivated know, and certainly New Hampshire's knee deep in cannabis legalization debate, let's say. They're also in the midst of to replace the upcoming sort of not termed out, but stepping down Governor Chris Sununu, Republican Governor Chris Sununu, who's put some pretty clear indications of what he'd like to see in the bill, what he doesn't like to see in the bill. The House passed a bill that the governor doesn't like. The Senate is toying with changing it. We had a long conversation with the good folks who wrote the bill in the House. You can check that out on Cultivated Lives on YouTube channel. But if it doesn't pass now, there is a Republican former U.S. Senator, Kelly Ayotte, I think I'm pronouncing her name right. She's running for governor. She told WMUR in New Hampshire that even if it passes and she's the governor, she said, I don't think legalizing marijuana is the right direction for our state. As we think about our fentanyl crisis, I'm concerned about the impact of that. I have no idea what she's talking about other than she's going to veto a bill if she becomes governor, even though every surrounding state and country is legalized and people in New Hampshire are going to buy their weed elsewhere. This is like an old trope, certainly among Republican governors, or in this case, Republican governor candidates. This is like taking a step back even from the Republican governance in the state now.
No. I mean, now they're as they lose attention for being among the first states or the first state to actually have a primary, they're trying to look for other reasons. And that reason will be being the only state in the greater New England area. What do I say? Greater New England area.
That's fine. New England expanded, sure. All the Northeast at this point.
All the Northeast that won't allow recreational. I mean, Pennsylvania is mid-Atlantic. You would even consider Pennsylvania Northeast.
Depends which part of Pennsylvania you're in.
Totally, it's Northeast, but then you got that Alabama territory.
Yes. Kentucky, I think. Yes. Pennsatucky, I think they call it.
Yeah, but it's easier to get it in Alabama than it is New Hampshire.
That's true. Well, except you're closer to it if you're in New Hampshire because you're almost always near a border. Yeah, I feel bad because the folks that we've talked to, bipartisan group in New Hampshire and the House, like they are really serious about this. They've done great thinking. They've brought passionate people, and they brought, certainly in the House, they brought both parties to the table, and now they run up against a Senate that seems like they want it to be state run, which I think is a negotiation rather than a sort of hard no. But then you have a gubernatorial candidate saying she's going to veto it if she becomes elected. I just don't know if this is a winning issue, even in New Hampshire, to be against. I don't think so either. And we'll ultimately see, like a lot of the things that we talk about, how things roll out in November. Yes. Well, speaking of November, I'm here in Florida now, where there's no shortage of medical dispensaries. They're pretty much, they're not everywhere, but there are a lot of places. And in Florida, obviously, they have an election coming up that needs 60% of the vote in November, but also a Republican governor that is saying vote no. We also have Virginia, where the governor vetoed the bill, the Republican governor vetoed the bill that the legislature passed. So we see this trend where Republican governors saying no, even when voters and legislatures say yes. It's untenable, I think, if you're a Republican governor, stay on the side of just being no on this, as opposed to putting forward sort of proactive solutions to what the people want.
Which makes us believe that if there is, if parties do adhere to actual platforms anymore, we talk about the 11th hour decision of Trump maybe trying to get voters in the Republican alley to come his way via that. It seems like all indications are the Republicans as a national party are going to continue to be anti-pot, which makes no sense at all, given the states' rights, libertarian nature of the topic that we're talking about.
Speaking of which, we're going to shift to Western Democratic governors in this case, because we did talk about Governor Polis a few weeks ago being an advocate in that case for the cannabis industry. State just south of there in New Mexico has something really interesting going on. I think we might have teased it last week, but more has come out. So here's what's going on. Last week, we learned that the federal border officials were seizing legal cannabis within the borders of New Mexico. Okay, so that's weird in and of itself. We have a federal agency cracking down on illegal industry in New Mexico. This week, we learned through an unauthorized recording, this is very juicy, of a phone call that New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, she is pissed about this. Here's what we know. It appears that Grisham was on a flight recently taking a phone call, and someone recorded that phone call, like a passenger next door, like someone on the plane. The governor appears to be from the call. She appears to be on a call with someone from the Biden administration, and she's voicing her concern and anger over the seizures of this cannabis within New Mexico's borders. Now, this is, of course, yet another example of the federal illegality of cannabis running right into the legality of cannabis on the state level. But what I'm more struck by is that she seems genuinely angry that her industry is being messed up by the federal government, and she's sticking up for an industry that doesn't have a lot of fans aside from Governor Polis for this case. But she's really basically given the gears to the Biden administration, which is interesting. I don't know if this will change anything within the New Mexico border with the Border Patrol, but this seems like another Democratic Western governor standing up for the industry, which I kind of like.
Well, it's a states' right issue. Again, if you have policy that enables a state-run, fully taxed, fully regulated program to exist, is the steward of the state. And I would say that DeSantis and Virginia and everybody else, would have to do this as well. Like, you can't let if you have a state regulated system, regardless if you agree it should be occurring or not, you shouldn't allow the feds to shut it down because of this interregnum period where we have legal state rights and illegal federal laws as it relates to cannabis. And so if you have a program in state, you have to protect your own business owners. Those are your constituents. And so I applaud the governor for voicing out, and I applaud the Snoopy neighbor on the plane for recording it.
It's a little creepy, the whole story, but it is certainly a great scoop. The other part is like the governor wouldn't be okay, or nobody would be okay if like the border patrol started, pulling over beer trucks or liquor delivery or cigarette delivery for that matter, right? Like it's you got to defend what's going on in your state, and certainly there. And there is more interaction certainly between the border patrol and what's happening in the state, like New Mexico, than there is like in New Hampshire for that matter. But again, it really pits states' rights versus what's happening at the federal level, but also highlights the need for something on the federal level to happen, because there is clearly there's no clarity of what the border patrol is doing vis-a-vis the cannabis industry in that state. But if it's also happening in New Mexico, if it happened in California or Arizona, I think you're in for even a bigger noise to be made.
Colorado, it's right there.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's just how far does it go, and how big? Yeah. So the creepiness of recording someone's phone call has made it into a story that we agree with the recording, I think, which puts us in a weird position, Brad.
Well, well, if you're a governor, you are a public figure, and anything that you do or say in public is of the public record. So I don't like the creepiness. I should applaud is much too strong of a word, yet we benefit from that person's persistence to try to track down the governor and everything that she is saying on a plane at any given time.
Yes, if you're an elected official, be careful what you say in a plane. Although part of me, being an ex-politico, makes me think that wouldn't it be really unbelievable sort of political jujitsu if they knew it was going to be recorded when she had the phone call and then got it leaked to then put pressure on the Biden administration to stop this ridiculousness?
Love it.
That's probably overthinking it.
I don't know. That's what we do on podcasts here, United States of Cannabis.
That's true. It's true. So if you're on a plane and there happens to be someone talking about cannabis, they happen to be a governor of a Western state, press record and then send it to us directly at cultivated.news. How's that?
Jared, that means you.
It's funny. Yeah, that's good. Brad, as always, it's good to see you. Just a quick programming note. I will be in Maryland Friday and Saturday for NECAN Maryland. We have a great lineup coming up. We'll release the content the interviews we do probably in the coming week after that. We'll be streaming live on Friday morning this program, as we always do, but we'll be on the trade show floor in Baltimore. So Brad, thank you for your time today. As always, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Very good.
That's it for today's Cultivated Live. We encourage you to subscribe to our daily newsletter at cultivated.news. I was going to point to my hat that I'm not even wearing. Follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to us on YouTube. Visit us at cultivated.news. What's that?
Shouldn't I be smashing something?
Yeah, smash the subscribe button on YouTube. That's what you should absolutely do. And by the way, we have something going quasi-viral right now on YouTube. Do you want to see what's happening?
Let's party.
This is what people are watching and commenting on. They do not like it, but let me show you what they're watching.
On marijuana, we have pardoned all people for federal convictions for simple marijuana possession. Many of you have heard me say it. I just don't think people should have to go to jail for smoking weed. And these pardons have been issued as an extension of that approach.
In fairness, she sent people to jail for, I don't know about smoking weed, but certainly for cannabis crimes when she was the DA. But nonetheless, anything about Kamala Harris on YouTube is sure to draw an audience, I've learned. So if you want to visit our YouTube channel, there's plenty about Kamala Harris there. We will see you back here tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be with Jeremy Burke, my co-founder here at Cultivated. Brad, thank you so much. And if you're where you can go buy cannabis from a local dispensary, please go do that today. Brad, thanks again.
Will do. Bud and Rita's.
There you go.